From New York Times bestselling author Ibi Zoboi comes a powerful new novel, Nigeria Jones. Good morning. How are you, Ibi?
Good morning. I'm doing well.
So, let's talk a little bit about this book. Tell us a little bit about this book.
Well, as the title entails, this is the story of a 16-year-old girl coming to terms with what it means to be African American. And she's also grappling with her very strict father, her very isolated upbringing. She's homeschooled, she's raised in a very particular way. And when her mother disappears, she's forced to step outside into the world, go to a brand new school for the first time, make new friends, and have brand new experiences.
Speaking of which, she's coming of age now. How does she cope with her, first of all, being a woman, being a black woman in today's world? How is that entered into the book?
Well, I'm really telling the story of a girl who feels like she has to choose between both. Sometimes young people have to choose from between different identities. She's a girl and she's black. In some spaces, she has to just deal with things that girls have to deal with, and in other spaces, she has to deal with things that black people have to deal with. And what does it mean to be both and to question your place in a world where both identities are marginalized? And I wanted young people to have empathy for kids just like her, kids who have to just deal with different parts of themselves and bring them together when they're forced to face the world in new ways.
Speaking of facing the world in a new way, we talk about black freedom movements. We talk about justice, education, constitutional rights. How is this addressed in the book?
Oh, wow. I love that you bring this up. This is about Black freedom movements. We often think about the Black Panther Party for self-defense. We even think about the Garveyites, but there are communities just like those communities that exist today. There are Sankofa Freedom Schools. There are Saturday programs where Black children can learn their history outside of what's taught in their schools. My own children experience this. And it's important to have this documented in a book so that kids who are raised this way can see themselves, and kids who are not raised this way can see that this exists in the country and they're not invisible.
Do you ever bring up the issue in the book or even socially when you're out? You've talked about these different groups, but what about the Black Wall Streets, the Tulsa? What about the black neighborhoods in New York that were eminent domain? All over the country, Chicago, LA, St. Louis.
Yeah, what Nigeria Jones is a nod to the MOVE organization. While they were not very much like Black Wall Street, they were a community that isolated themselves and had their own values. And in this book, I'm bringing into question who gets to be sovereign, who gets to be autonomous, who gets to live by the principles of the Constitution. We all know that of the Amish people in Pennsylvania, of course, the MOVE organization is something that should be in history books. So these people are living according to the laws of the Constitution. I also bring up the Quakers, who were very different in their ideas, but they were allowed to exist. But what about the young people and the people who have families who really want to formulate their own ideas while still living under the principles of the Constitution? What freedoms do they have? And if their freedoms are brought into question when it comes to the law and abiding to the law?
What do you want readers to take away from this book?
Everything that I just mentioned, I want readers to think about that. Especially young people when they are forced to question the principles and the ideas that they're raised with. My character is not only questioning her father, she's questioning her family, she's questioning her community, and she's questioning her school. I want young readers to be critical thinkers. I want them to enjoy the story. I want them to just enjoy life, but also think about the ways in which ideas are brought to you. Think about the ways in which you follow what everybody else is doing, and how do you form your own path when you want to be something different in the world.
That sounds like their parents and grandparents were they when they were that age, and they
Yeah.
kind of lost their way.
Sometimes we can say they lost their way, and I like to believe maybe they found their way. And in the
That's
process
interesting.
of making, I want to add in the process of making quote unquote wrong decisions, that's what you're supposed to go through. You're kind of, hemming and hawing and, making wrong decisions, making right decisions. But in the end, we all find ourselves, don't we?
We try to. We do. I've been speaking with author Ibi Zoboi, New York Times bestselling author, about her new powerful book, Nigeria Jones. Ibi, where can we get the book?
Nigeria Jones is available now wherever books are sold.
Great. Thank you again for joining us on Morning Blend.
Thank you.